There is a reason I'm making 2 videos for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2. I think, from some sneak peeks on episode description and season descriptions, that the first half is about the S.H.I.E.L.D. trying to re-establish itself and fighting Hydra and finding the Kree City. Yeah, that's a thing. And the second half will be the introduction of Inhumans. So I think I will have to watch Inhumans after season 2. I think the Kree City is making people who are compatible with the Kree technology into Inhumans, because I have no idea. I never heard about Kree Inhuman connections. I don't see why anyone would want that, especially that the only Kree we know at this point was Thanos' blue skin guy, Rodan or something, and he was an absolute racist. So that I don't mean he was like a Nazi, where that ideology divided the world to supreme and lower races. But Rodan just killed people who were not his race. So, by the look of that, the Kree is not interested into making slave races. And this one is not very effective making a slave race. I mean, how many Inhumans are there? Like 6? I'm just guessing. No one saw that show anyway. But okay. And I have so many questions at this point, and there are retcons. Plenty of retcons. Starting with Agent Carter working for the SSR or SRR. I don't care, that will be retconned anyway, so why even bother? And I have such questions like the Hydra has its symbol, and why is that an octopus? Just have no idea. And this cut on one head and will grow too. Wouldn't it work if one of the leader dies? There will be 2 elected. It doesn't seem to be so. Either how many people they have. And considering S.H.I.E.L.D. is now, let's say, not a government-funded organization, who is funding them? Where do they have the money? Okay, they have some remnant technology and they stole some cloaked airplanes. Fine, I guess, but those needs kerosene. The bases need electricity, and that's a lot of electricity. So someone will know that you are there. So and you have to pay for it. So that's not. And you, as bare minimum, you have to feed the researchers. I mean, the field agents probably have some legal work, as a second job. So in cases like this, you don't really have to pay them. They can survive without it and just work because they are ideologically motivated. But how the S.H.I.E.L.D. can function at this point, I have really no idea. Now then, there is this whole Kree city. You would think someone would have found it. I mean, we have all this technology, especially the Marvel Universe, it has more technology. So a whole city would have been, prize attention. And why was that abandoned but not destroyed? Why is the technology active? Either way, it's a big disappointment because it's just a bunch of stones. And we don't even see a big whatever, like, what was that? That something bones, they were vampires and whatever, and at least we saw a big overview of their city underground at the end of the movie or something. I don't really remember what it was. It's just a pillar which works exactly like the Fifth Element, and the season starts with exactly ripping off encounters of the third kind. And now, despite the whole first season was, there are no superhumans, no superheroes, no. If there is something that's technological or the very, very rare case, radiation in activated powers. But here with everyone has superpowers. Just fuck you. Though I was welcome to see SpongeMan, or I don't know what's the English word for it. Maybe SpongeMan, maybe something else. That was pretty cool. It just had no real consequence, just like Deathlock. On the grand scale, the season has a better execution, pacing, because it's no longer a spy thing, it's entirely a pure action series. There isn't really an episodic case per episode, it's more like a continuous series. It works better, that's the point, but it comes with some more inconsistencies, like the guy who betrayed them in the first season was told... Thanks, Kitty. To burn one of his brothers in his house when he torched it, because of reasons like that house was demolished in Forest Gump. Now that's still alive, because of course. Then there is this timeline problem that Tony Stark. It's not in Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. I just checked in Iron Man, the first movie, which got a date and age of Tony in Iron Man 3. That one, okay, that's not Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., but where do I put it? So that makes it Howard Stark dying in car accident in 1991, that was shown on a magazine cover in Iron Man 1, but if you use the numbers given in Iron Man 3 to match the data given at the start of Iron Man 1, it says that it turns out that Tony Stark became the CEO of Stark Industries in 1990 with the death of his father, which happened in 1991. So someone made a mistake. This is an elementary mistake. So it feels like the whole department, Disney and the MCU, is just winging it. Just like, oh, there are no superhumans, no super abilities. Now everyone has it. Then it turns out that only some people who have these alien compatible genes can have superpowers or whatever. No, not that, because that's made in the alien city and SpongeBob wasn't there. And this all inhuman thingy comes to the problem with also that it was told that the protagonist lady's item type 084 or something, unknown origin, alien stuff. So if she is just a regular human, what can be found, 1 in a million chance anywhere in the world, why is she in that category? She should have been an alien, or at least one of her parents should have been alien. Her father was definitely not alien. Maybe her mother was an inhuman kind, this machine transformed human. I'm not sure what's the deal with the blind guy. I'm calling them inhuman because, snake pig, but actually at this point we have zero idea what is going on with that. But there definitely was a mistake in Iron Man. Anyway, so this whole drawing thing is just straight from Encounters of the Third Kind, and the solution is equally totally matching the same as one. The protagonist there is making a statue of the mountain. I just drawing it, so that's exactly how it goes. I have no idea how they would have turned a two-dimensional picture into three-dimensions conveniently. Someone just built it up because and I would have been interested that someone who get the injection but it's not compatible with the alien machine, what would have happened with that kind of person inside the chamber, which we are told it exploded, but we don't see the explosion. So I really, that's just a missing scene somewhere. It's really confusing and badly executed. And how that the father has superhuman strength and all that. Oh, he's just mad. What? That this hatred gives him power is equally as silly as love saves, which also happens once in this season. It's very stupid. So what do we have here more? They hide that protagonist lady is transformed into this by this machine. I don't know what's with the craze. I never read about them in the comics. I know I hated this scroll war alien invasion, which never appeared in any of the comics I read. So what's with that? And I just have I'm a bit confused by this season. you know, because the execution is better. I like it more. I gave it a 7 out of 10, at least, for the first half. I guarantee it will be the same for the next, but I feel there is a lack of communication about the details between departments and companies, and they are just making it up as it goes, and I feel we should definitely have had to watch this series to have a better grasp at the main MCU universe, the movies. But this was promoted as a side project, and there was no discussion about it, at least not officially. This really should have had official board discussion, because this feels like important thing. When I tried to watch the John Wick spin-off, the ballerina, I had this, I turned off like after half an hour at most, because I felt I'm missing something. And watching this series, I'm not very fond of it, but I think it plugs in holes that probably the creators of the MCU had in mind, because they knew what is happening in the ABS, but the audience did not. We were only watching the Disney movies, the theatrical movies, and that's the start of the decline, in a sense, because this is keep pushing it up, and it's not that bad at this point, although we just get sequels. But I feel the mistakes made here will have a serious effect in the future productions, especially when Disney takes over and start to make content for the streaming channel, because they are not full moon entertainment, or whatever that guy, Puppet Master, and that kind of things. They can just do movies and buy a couple of other stuff for the streaming, which costs like $2 to $5 a month, something like that. And you can just binge watch all their fresh releases in a year, in a month. But Disney is not that. And when you start to rely on side series and you explain stuff or use them to plug plot holes in your main shows, the movie universe, people will start miss more and more, and that will cause a problem. So this turns out to be something interesting, but I definitely need a break, so I will watch Captain Marvel, because that's in the past. Black Widow is set to be played out after Civil War. Okay, whatever. But I will definitely watch Captain Marvel next, because I know that's playing out in the past, and sure, it was made at the end of Phase 3, but should have been Phase 4, only Brie Larson fucked Feige, so they swapped her movie with Black Widow's movie, because, the ego of man, as Baywatch says. Oh, by the way, for a second I thought the new female character is like from Baywatch later seasons, but no, they just look a bit similar, at least in my head. And you know what I realized? There were two black guys in this half season, and I cannot remember them. I know there was a black guy who was friend with the science guy, but I have no idea what the other did. And talking about science guy, not being nice, this young dude here in this series. If you are under 30 meter underwater, you don't get hypoxia. That's not what you get. You get cassonioness, meaning you have pressure problems which blows up your veins and your brain and all that kind of stuff. But you don't get hypoxia. And 30 meter is not that much, especially that buoyancy pushes you up in the water. I mean, I can, after practice, swim underwater 90 meters and without that, like 60. It's not a distance. The problem is definitely is casson, the pressure. So I have mixed rating for this half season.